Maddie would do Christmas. And so after we go watch football first, then we eat, and then it's game time. And game time was normally Okino that we keep talking about. And the only reason why I bring that up because before we even got started with Okino, Cousin Barbara had first dibs on the cards. That was the secret. That's how she woke everybody. She knew what cards to get before everybody got it. And nobody touched the set until she touched it first. Am I right about it? So there was a method to the madness with that one. But you know, the conversations and the stories and the great food that women could learn. You hear me? I'm talking about cook like nobody's business. And it's just the camaraderie. I mean, it was a beautiful sight. I miss it. There's no way we can ever recapture that. But yeah, it was just a wonderful time. So the reason why I bring it up, it helped shape who we were as a family. And you can see the room. You know, when it comes time to show up, we show up. We show up and we love on one another. And as we talked about her interests, she liked the gambling and the Steelers, and she likes the play the Bokino and the poker and the bingo and all of that and the other. I got a story. Actually, my mother shared the story with me coming up. So, all right. So on one of the trips to Cincinnati and Cleveland, right, they decided to take the train, right, and I think it was my mother and Cousin Barbara and who else was in? Adrian and Matt. Okay, I don't know if y'all remember it or not. So from what I understand it, they got on the train and they had basically coach seats they supposed to get, in the seat. Well, by the time they got on the train, it was loaded with Girl Scouts, right? So they were forced to stand. And anybody know anything about Cousin Barbara? She's not gonna do anything she don't want to do. She's not gonna do that. So she tipped to the front of the train in the first class and sat down. And so they followed in kind. And so the conductor says, can I see your tickets, please? You show them the ticket. Well, ma'am, you're not supposed to be there. And she said, well, I tell you what, I'll move if you can find me a seat in coach. And they couldn't find one, it was full, so she was not gonna move. He tried to get her move, she would not move. So, yeah, she just did, you had to come to her correct. A personal story would be, Uncle Rose had a lapdog named Queen. You talk about, oh my God, he had a little lapdog. He was so mean. I didn't know how to approach him. Berta had Pepper. It was nice. That was cool. That was fine. And I didn't quite know how to approach the dog. So, and I love dogs. Right? So, I came up and I said, how do I get attached to this dog? How do I get the dog to like me? She said, well, you just gotta be friendly with him. We were on the porch. It's a normal day on the porch. And you just gotta be nice to him, And she had the dog had a horrible bark. Horrible bark. And so what I did, she said, just be calm and just let her spell your hand. So what I did, I went up and I came up to her. I came up there, I let her smell my hand. Her tail started wagging. I thought I was in. All of a sudden, jumped over the fence. And you talk about somebody laughing. I've never seen Cousin Barbara laugh so much in my life. She was rolling. I said, I'm not you see this. He said, well, I guess she felt you was scared or something. I don't know. But I did. I was able to see how she parented based on how she raised her children. Of course, cousin Adrian was gorgeous, and she finished school, and then Matthew, he made sure he finished school, and she stressed education, and she was really, really, stern as far as making sure they do what they're supposed to do. She was a small woman, but nobody messed with her. Nobody fooled with her, and all she would ever have to do is, right when you're about to cross the line, she give you one of these numbers wear glasses. And you do the straighten up. Nobody, nobody fooled because of Barbara. But one thing I can say about her is that she was a woman of standards. You weren't gonna move her now one way or the other. If she said she wasn't gonna cross the street, she wasn't gonna cross the street. If she said she wasn't gonna ever get on a plane for as long as she lived, she ain't gonna get on that plane. She is not gonna do it. But she had structure to her life. You knew every week where she was gonna be and what she was gonna be doing, and she did everything on her terms. So what I'm saying is, we can, well, actually, before I move a little further, Danielle, we have a scripture I'd like for her to read. It's coming out of Isaiah 33:16.
This is how you raise your standard of living, a safe and stable way to live, a nourishing, satisfying way to live. God makes all decisions here.
Okay, so what did we learn from the life of Barbara Gardner? We learned that she had standards, she had discipline. To hold down a job for 29 years, that's saying something. Just the longevity of being able to do that, that's saying something. I think she's been retired for, when did you say she retired?
92.
Yeah, and she still has some co-workers show up, that long ago. So she definitely had influence on people. So we all know she had standards. What are your standards? What type of standards do you have in your life? What do they represent? What do you desire? What do you want out of life? What's important to you? Where do you spend your money? Where do you spend your time? Are you honoring God? Are you honoring yourself? How do you treat the people that are around you? How far do you let unforgiveness go in your heart? How far do you allow things to fester before you address them? You ask yourself these questions. What do you desire? What do you want? Cousin Barbara knew what she wanted out of life. And she was very unapologetic about that. So do your standards measure up to where you want to be? Because the two most important questions that you could ever face is when you were born and why. We all have a divine purpose. God has put us here for a reason. First and foremost, we have to honor Him, first and foremost. And then we have to step into our purpose. How do you know what your purpose is? Does it even matter to you what your purpose is in life? God has put us here to uplift one another and make lives better for the next person. Are you doing that? Where are your priorities? Ask yourself these important questions, because whether you want to believe it or not, we're going to be forced to look back on where we've been, what we're doing, and what we were able to accomplish. We're going to have to face that. Who's important to you in your life? What's important to you in your life? That's where you need to put your effort. That's where you need to put your emphasis. That's what's going to get you to the next level. That's where your blessings are going to come from. But you have to be honest with yourself. You can fool your family members, you can fool the neighbors, but you can't fool yourself. You sure enough can't fool God. What are you doing to help yourself achieve the goals that you want to achieve? How important is that to you? You want to know what's important to you? What you going to be thinking about when you're on your deathbed? When they give you that news? Yes, X amount of years, or months or days to live. Do we think about the football game? Do we think about your hair and nails? Are you going to think about that horrible thing you said to your loved one? You never said you were sorry. Or you know God's been pulling on your life for you to accomplish certain things, and you put it on the back burner because you are afraid to fail. Do you understand the biggest hindrance of progress in our lives is fear? More times than not, we create problems that aren't even there because of fear of failure. But if God could be with you, who could be against you? You can't go wrong doing his will. You can't. There's no such thing as failure. You know what failure is? When you quit, when you stop. That's failure. So be mindful of where you are in life. Where are you? Where's your mental state? Do you not know that close to 80% of Americans today are on some type of prescription medication? And more times it's not, it's dealing with anxiety and depression because they don't like who they are. What are you doing about that? Are you content with who you are? I'm not saying complacent. Are you content of where you are? If you're not, what are you doing about it? What are you doing to feed your spirit? What are you doing to take care of your body? Are you growing? I don't know the answer to these questions, but you do. We're going to borrow time, y'all. We're going to trade places with her one day. Every last one of us. Every last one of us. So what is your legacy going to be? When you meet God face to face, what will your story be? What will your loved ones say to you when you're laying there and they have the microphone in their hand? What will they say about you? These are things that you need to visit. So if true contentment is you're content of where you are, where you've been. Where you've been is huge. A lot of you can't move forward looking backwards. Y'all have any unresolved pain? Somebody did something to you when you were younger? Are you holding grudges against somebody? They dead and gone, or they gone somewhere else, and you still holding some type of grudge with them? And you can't move forward? They in the bed sleep, and you up at night. All I'm saying is, be mindful of where you are and where you've been. And then on top of it, where are you going next? Does it line up to where you want to be? That's true contentment. That's the true peace that only God can give you. Where you have a great relationship with yourself, your God, and the ones that love you. So just be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. Live with no regrets. Whatever it is, go get it. It's never too late, no matter how old you are or how young you are. Get it while you can, because life can change in an instant. It's an instant. I see it all the time. I see it all the time. One of my insurance clients, real quick, wrote her a policy. She had a newborn. Some knucklehead was texting and driving, killed her instantly, and she only held her child for 2 days before she left this earth, and she was young. You just don't know. I'm not trying to scare y'all here. I'm just saying, just be mindful what's important in your life. People say, I'm not going to be before you long. Why? I'm done. You gotta be lying. If you I'll be before you long, they be for another 30 minutes. You know we hungry. You know we got plans. How you gonna be a preacher and lying about you? Stop it. I'm stop already. I'm done. I'm done. I just want to put something on your brain. You know,